Now, I like to think I'm pretty good at Pokemon Nuzlocke, but one thing I am truly gifted at is gambling. And it's right here in Celadon City where I first discovered this skill. You see, back in the good old days, Pokemon had game corners, a place where you could invest your hard-earned Pokédollars into the slot machines, and if you were really good, win coins which can be exchanged for Pokemon. But is it worth potentially losing your money, wife, house and kids for these Pokemon? Well, that's what I'm here to find out. So join me on a hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokémon FireRed, where I am limiting myself to Pokemon who can be won in the Celadon Game Corner. As always, I'll be playing on set mode, not using items in battle, sticking to a level limit, and if one of my Pokemon faints, they're gone forever. We start things off in Pallet Town, miles away from the game corner, so we have to get a bit creative with our starter. I pull some strings with Professor Oak and get an advance on our future winnings. Meet Roulette the Porygon. Roulette is all I've got for the first badge, and my electric soldier seizes the opportunity, taking out my rival Paul both in the lab and on Route 22. After breezing through Viridian Forest, it's time to take on Brock. Up first is Geodude, but that's no problem for Rue, whose Psybeam confuses Geodude, who subsequently knocks himself out, earning us an easy KO. Next up is Onyx, but all he does is use Bind and Tackle, which means Rue gets us our first badge with a few more Psybeams. We battle our way through Route 3 and get ourselves to Mount Moon, the home of our next encounter. We do almost knock her out, but Vegas the Clefairy joins the team and instantly evolves into Clefable. We make our way through Mount Moon without any dramas, praising our Lord and Saviour along the way. Just before we get to Cerulean, I find myself sandwiched between two buff dudes, who teach Vegas how to kick and punch. These are ridiculously powerful, but they do have one major drawback: the accuracy sucks. I wouldn't usually pick these up, but given the theme of the run, I'm ready to roll the dice. Fully in the mood for being risky, we go straight to Nugget Bridge to take on our rival Paul, despite being a little bit underleveled. After a few sand attacks, Vegas is able to land a Mega Kick and Mega Punch, which take out Pidgeotto. Rue then takes out Rattata and Squirtle thanks to a critical hit. Vegas comes in to take out Abra, which is a great segue into our next encounter. An Abra. Now, Abra is a tricky one. They have Teleport, which means they run away after the first turn, and given we only have Pokeballs, there's a good chance we fail here. However, Vegas has Sing, which gives us a 55% chance of at least a few balls, so that's what we do, and it lands. We also get the 25% chance catch on the first turn, which means Blackjack joins the team. After grinding everyone up and rescuing Bill, it's time to take on the gym. Now, I don't really have a plan for this one, so we're just going to go in, be ourselves and have fun. Vegas is up first, who lands a Mega Punch before encoring Staryu into using Harden. This lets me go into Blackjack, who gets the KO with Psybeam. Now, Starmie is quicker and hits pretty hard with Swift, so we go back into Vegas. Feeling lucky, which is the theme of the run I guess, I go for Mega Kick, which connects and takes out Starmie. I told you we didn't have a plan, but it doesn't matter as we secure badge number 2. Safely in Vermilion, we're flirting with the level cap of 24, so it's straight to the SS Anne to take on Paul. Rue takes out Pidgeotto before Vegas comes in and wipes out Raticate. She takes care of Kadabra too, and Paul sends out his newly evolved Wartortle. We just miss the KO with Mega Kick before he fires back with a critical hit Water Gun, and Vegas just hangs on. We're able to avoid disaster as Blackjack comes in and gets the KO. Next up is Lieutenant Surge, and I don't have a clear plan for this one either. Vegas can learn Diglo, which is about as far as my plan goes. Turns out, not a very good plan, as she can't even take out Voltorb. At the very least, I'd like to save her for Raichu, so we go into Blackjack, who takes out Voltorb and Pikachu with ease. So, as Raichu comes out, we go back into Vegas, who gets paralysed on the switch. We did come prepared with a Cherry Berry though. Raichu goes for Double Team as we land a Mega Kick anyway. Raichu hits us with the Shockwave as we miss a Mega Kick, but it's all good as Vegas cheats the odds yet again and lands another Mega Kick on the next turn, winning us badge number 3. After bonking our way through Rock Tunnel, where we almost lose Vegas, we make it to Lavender Town, where we get an easy win over Paul in the Pokemon Tower. With him out the way, we head over to Celadon City, the home of the next gym, and most importantly, the Game Corner. Now this absolute loser says he's giving up gambling and gives us his coin case. So this is it, what the entire challenge has been building up to. No, what my entire life has been building up to. I've been gambling and playing Pokemon since I was 5 and nothing compares to this moment. The flickering neon lights, coins pouring out the machines, random Italian guys standing in front of posters. I'm home, and this does mean we can grab an encounter. And for the low price of 2600 coins, we can pick up Dratini, or with some wise investing, we can grab Scyther for 5500. So, armed with just 50 coins, I load up a slot and lose it all. Was this really it? Did we really come all this way to lose our coins? I don't want to be the little guy with the pickaxe who gives up just before he hits diamonds, so I sell the wife, kids and family home, which give me enough coins to pick up Dratini. However, it's Scyther I really want, and a talented gambler never quits, so I get to work. I go on a generational run, hitting jackpot after jackpot after jackpot until I finally reach my goal. Meet the dealer, who comes into the team and gets straight to work, one-shotting everything in Erica's gym. When it comes to the big dog though, the dealer falls just short on turn 1. She also gets poisoned, but thugs it out and gets the KO on turn 2 as Erica heals. The dealer stays in and takes out Tangela before facing off against Vileplume. She falls just short with wing attack, but is able to tank a hit and polish things off on the next turn. Following on from a bogus tip-off, we reluctantly check out some suspicious activities in the game corner basement. However, I don't see any criminal activities in here, just a bunch of super fun spinny floors and some friendly Italian guys. Forget about it. Giovanni even gives me a self scope which lets me find and beat up ghost types. This sets off a chain of events which lead me to Fuchsia City, the home of our final encounter. Meet the Ace of Spades, the Dratini who rounds off our team. So, with a team of high rollers fully assembled and a big chunk of the Kanto region opened up, we go on a bit of a spree, beating up anyone and everyone we could find. Before we get into the interesting in-game stuff, we do have to take on Koga. I could lie and pretend this was even remotely difficult, but in truth, Blackjack uses Psychic 4 times. That was it. That was the fight. Koga might just be the easiest gym leader of all time. Is there anyone easier? Let me know what you think in the comments. Saffron City is where the real fun starts, and we kick things off with introducing Ace of Spades, the newly evolved Dragonair, into the fold. We have 3 big fights in Saffron, and first up is our rival Paul. His first few Pokemon go down with no bother, but things get scary when his Alakazam sets up 2 Cam Mines. All it can do though is fire off a Future Sight as Vegas takes it out with the strength. Out comes Blastoise, and I try and be clever and dig a hole to hide from the Future Sight, which doesn't work, and we get hit anyway. However, Blastoise just spams Protect and Vegas eventually gets the KO. Next up is everyone's favourite casino owner, the friendly Italian man Giovanni, who actually isn't friendly at all. I taught Ace Surf, which barely puts a dent in Nidoqueen, so I go into Vegas, who almost goes down to a double kick. Kangaskhan comes in, so I go into the dealer, who gets rocked with a Mega Punch. Now, I can't risk losing her, so I have to swap out. So, I make a super risky switch into Blackjack. Luckily, Kangaskhan misses and we get the KO. Blackjack completes the Great Escape by taking out Rhyhorn, and thanks to his efforts, Blackjack evolves off screen into Alakazam. Speaking of Alakazams, it's time to take on Sabrina. First up is Kadabra, who starts things off in the worst possible way by using Reflect, which raises her team's defense. This means we don't get the knockout with strength, however after a heal, Vegas is able to take her out. In comes Mr. Mime, who uses Barrier to raise his own defense. He then baton passes this boost to Venomoth. If she went to Alakazam, this could have been trouble, but Rue is able to come in and take it out. Rue also takes care of Mr. Mime before facing down Alakazam. Now, this thing is scary. It's fast and it has crazy good special attack, so I can't afford to switch. As Sabrina goes for Calm Mind, Rue fires off a Tri-Attack, which gets the freeze. Sabrina tries to heal, but it's too late as Rue gets us the KO and badge number 6. With Saffron cleared, we're one short ride away from our next battle, Blaine. The plan for this one, as always, is just to be ourselves and have fun. Oh, and also click Surf as fast and as hard as we can, and that's exactly what we do, as Ace outspeeds and knocks out Growlithe and Ponyta. Rapidash is faster though and is able to survive a Surf. As Blaine heals, we miss the KO again. This time, Rapidash springs up, and as we can't really go anywhere, Ace takes the hit and gets the KO. Now, this is where things get interesting, as Arcanine comes in and we're all the way down to 59 HP. Takedown might hurt, so we go into Vegas. I'm not using damage calcs for this run, but given the damage done to Vegas, a takedown would have been very close on Ace. Arcanine switches things up with a Fire Blast, which does a lot, as Water Pulse barely makes a dent. We change things up again and we go into Rue on a huge Fire Blast. We're in horrible shape here, and I think my best bet here is to go into Blackjack, who can hopefully take a hit, outspeed and get the KO with Psychic. However, on the switch, Arcanine lands a critical hit, meaning Blackjack goes bust. So we're out of options and it's time to find out if Ace can survive a takedown. Arcanine outspeeds and misses, although Surf just misses the KO. So now it's time to find out if Ace can survive a takedown. Arcanine outspeeds and misses again, which means Ace is free to get the KO. Honestly, I think the luck might have just balanced itself out on that one. Whew. So that was rough. It's never fun losing a Pokemon in a Nuzlocke, but it's 10 times worse when you only have 5 Pokemon to begin with. However, we can't let a setback stop us here, so we have two options. We're going to get even, or we're going to get even worse. To get our last badge, we have to take on our good friend and casino owner, Giovanni. Rhyhorn and Dugtrio go down to some surf from Ace before the problematic Nidoqueen comes in. She's still taking no prisoners as she survives the surf and lands a critical hit Earthquake, which leaves Ace with just 2 HP. I'm not sure if that was lucky or unlucky to be honest, but as Giovanni heals we're able to finish her off with 2 more surfs. Nidoking is out next and there's no chance I'm staying in here, so we go into the dealer who slugs it out with Nidoking before coming out on top. She does get poisoned, which takes her down to 6 HP, so we go into Vegas, who finishes off Rhyhorn with a Water Pulse. With 8 badges secure, we're in the endgame and we're only 6 major battles away from bringing this puppy home. We're down to 4 Pokemon and I am not in the mood for rolling the dice, so we get the gang up to level 55, which means Ace evolves. On Route 22, Paul challenges us to one last battle before the Pokemon League. Rue takes out Pidgeot and Rhyhorn before we unleash the beast. Ace comes in and takes out the rest of his team. Call me crazy, but I think we might be able to pull this thing off. If you did just call me crazy, you would be correct, because first up in the Elite Four is Lorelei and we have nothing for her. Half of my team are weak to ice and the other 2... yeah, let's just be ourselves and have fun. First up is Dugong, so I send out Rue, who traces her thick fat ability, which could be useful. Dugong sets up Hail, which means Rue is able to get the KO with a couple of Thunderbolts. Cloyster is up next, and after a couple of protects, Rue is able to get another KO with Thunderbolt. Slowbro is honestly just a menace. We miss the KO as she uses Amnesia. We trade blows, however as I recover some health back, she goes for Yawn, which means we have to swap out to Vegas, who gets hit with another Yawn? Lorelei seems hellbent on using Yawn, but we eventually get into Vegas, who gets the KO with Thunderbolt. Next up is Lapras, and Vegas gets a paralysis with Thunderbolt. We just miss the KO and get confused, so we go back into Rue as Lorelei uses a full restore. Now Rue also gets the paralysis, which means we get the clean KO on the next turn. Last up is Jinx, who starts things off with a lovely kiss, which sends us to sleep. Honestly, lovely kiss on a Jinx? What kind of idiotic strat is that? Surely nobody in their right mind would seriously do something this dumb. Anyway, Rue can take a few hits, so I decide to stay in to see if they feel like waking up. Unfortunately, Rue's eyes will be forever closed, as Jinx lands a critical hit and our starter falls. Porygon isn't a Pokemon I've used a lot of, but Rue seized their opportunity and I had so much fun. Rest in peace, Electric Soldier. Fortunately, there is some justice in the world as Jinx misses Lovely Kiss, and Vegas gets to work. Lovely Kiss does land at the second time of asking, but Vegas thugs it out and gets us the win. I'm still a little bit cut up at the loss of Rue, and I need cheering up. Luckily, Bruno is a joke. Ace comes in and wipes out his entire team, who aren't even able to get a single move off. Bruno must have watched a different fight to me, as he seems quite proud of himself. Now, unfortunately, Agatha isn't a joke, and my plan for her died to a critical hit Fire Blast in Gym 7. And my backup plan died to a critical hit Ice Punch, so I have to get a little bit creative. So as her Gengar spams double team, the dealer sets up a Swords Dance to boost her attack, and goes to town, taking out Gengar and Golbat with wing attacks. Arbok gets an Intimidate off, so I get a little greedy and go for another Swords Dance. This instantly gets punished as Arbok lands a critical hit Sludge Bomb. This only slows the dealer down though, as she wipes out the rest of Agatha's team with wing attacks. Now, was that cheesy? Honestly, it felt a little cheap, but given we're down to just 3 Pokemon, I need to do what I can to bring this puppy home. There are only 2 people who can stop me now, and the first one up is Lance. His Gyarados does slow things down with a flinch, but Vegas is able to take it out with a Thunderbolt on the next turn. Aerodactyl is up next, and after a wing attack falls madly in love with Vegas, who takes him out with a critical hit Thunderbolt. Dragonite is up next, and I don't think Vegas is in a position to take another hit, so I bring out the dealer, who tanks a Hyper Beam. This means we can bring out Ace on the recharge turn, who's able to win the Dance of the Dragons and clean up the rest of Lance's team. So, it all comes down to this. Can we win the jackpot, or is Paul going to bankrupt us? He leads off with Pidgeot, who uses Sand Attack as we just miss the KO with Thunderbolt. As Paul heals, Vegas misses a Thunderbolt. She goes above and beyond though, as her next Thunderbolt lands and gets the paralysis. This means she can outspeed and KO on the next turn. Alakazam comes out next and is as scary as ever. After setting up a Reflect and tanking Thunderbolt, he lands a critical hit Psychic, leaving us with just 24 HP. There's nothing we can do here, as Alakazam takes out Vegas with another Psychic. Rest in peace. The dealer comes in, and expecting a heal, we go for Swords Dance. Feeling greedy, we go for another as Alakazam lands a Psychic. As the Reflect wears off, we go for Aerial Ace and take him down. Rhydon is up next, but the dealer is able to outspeed and get the KO with Steel Wing. Arcanine's out next, and thanks to Intimidate, we fall just short with Aerial Ace. This means Arcanine is free to get the KO with Flamethrower. So, it's down to the Ace of Spades. Paul heals and Ace gets the KO with a couple of Surfs. We just miss the KO on Executor, who then puts us to sleep. There's no good way to lose a Nuzlocke, but this is a horrible way to go down. Paul heals as Ace enjoys a little honk shoe. However, she must have been feeling refreshed because she wakes up and hits hard with Wing Attack, falling just short as Paul's tree throws an egg at us. Another heal means Ace is free to get the KO with a few more Wing Attacks. So, it comes down to this, Dragonite against Blastoise. We strike first with an Earthquake as Blastoise sets up the rain. We just miss the KO with another Earthquake as Blastoise lands a Hydro Pump. It doesn't matter though, as Ace is free to land another Earthquake, winning the battle and the entire run. So, our team of Game Corner prizes managed to pull it off, but honestly, that was brutal at times. We did have some really good Pokemon, but the difficulty in these challenges always comes from the small pool of Pokemon I can use. If you like really strange Nuzlockes with a twist, I have a bunch more on the channel and loads more on the way, so feel free to subscribe so you don't miss any in the future. That's all from me today though, so thank you so much for watching and I'll see you next time.